Welcome to Your Success Podcast. We give you actionable insight and stories behind real-life success wherever you go. Here are your hosts, Angelos and Mo.
Welcome to Your Success Podcast. I'm Mo.
And I'm Angelos. So today, the podcast is all about who needs a holiday anyway. We're discussing taking holiday when you love what you do and or you run your own business.
And we were planning this, and I've just realised how ironic this episode is because I'm actually going on holiday in about 2 weeks' time to Cuba. So bear that in mind as we go through. But actually, generally, taking holiday is something I've really struggled with in the past, and it's definitely been Lucy, my partner, that's pushed me to take holiday and just have some time away from doing things. Not even holiday as in going away always, but just taking some time out and just going and walking the dog or whatever. And don't get me wrong, I love sun, I love holiday, I love skiing, but I do find it hard to switch off when I'm away. And I think having everything on mobile these days certainly doesn't help that.
Yeah, indeed. But whether we like it or not, Mo, we do need a holiday, just to refresh, reload. And that doesn't necessarily mean having to go away. It can just be spending time with friends or family, chilling out away from the business. I'll give you an example where I like to go to my cousin. He lives in North London, and I go there with Thea, just see them and his brother and my auntie and uncle. And I know this is going to sound really strange, but my wife and my cousin will just sit there playing the zombie computer game. They're killing people away. And I'll just lay on the bed, just chilling out and doing nothing. And sometimes that act of just chilling out and doing nothing is sometimes more enjoyable for me than just sitting there in the sun roasting away, tanning this great Greek body.
But, and even Gary Vee, who is sort of a self-proclaimed hustler, says that he actually relishes the escapism of seeing his beloved Jets play and not caring about anything else in the world for those, I don't know how many minutes the game is, but for that period of time, it's not about business, it's not about all the pressures he's got from having hundreds and hundreds of staff and millions of pounds of turnover. It's just about the escapism of being in that moment, which I think is really nice and it's really nice to hear from someone that's so sort of banging the drum for working hard and hustling, and that's really nice.
Yeah, I mean, we all worked hard in our old respective careers, for sure, and we really cared. And we wanted the best that we could possibly do to get our pay rises, to please our bosses, whatever it may be. But when you start a business and it becomes multiple businesses and they're doing well, you do have a lot of pressure, and your mind is constantly buzzing. You're constantly not only keeping the business going, but you need to create new ideas or new ways of increasing profitability or whatever it may be. So it's very difficult to have downtime in your brain, as opposed to when you're working, you have 9 to 5, you clock off at 5, and the rest of the evening is yours, and you can just chill out. Whereas when you're in your business, it can be quite difficult to have that downtime or schedule that downtime even. It's not even naturally occurring, if you know what I mean. I mean, I'll give you an example. So last year I got married.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And the build-up to the wedding was manic. It was intense, and you're running your business at the same time, but you're also having to deal with 250 odd people coming to the wedding. It was my big fat Greek wedding, and it went well. I had, it was literally the best day of my life. Lovely sun, just brilliant food, amazing company. Literally, I couldn't have asked for anything better. And then we had to go on holiday. And I I did feel like that, and it's almost like I wouldn't allow myself. I felt guilty almost to go on holiday for I think it was 2.5, 3 weeks, something like that. We went to Gran Canaria, amazing place. If you just want to chill out and do nothing, which is not really what I want to be doing. So went on honeymoon, and it took me, with no exaggerating, about 5-6 days just to chill out and recover from the absolute 100 different things happening every second leading up to the wedding, and the phone, emails and things like that, just clocking off a little bit. But then once I started getting into that routine of not feeling guilty for not checking on my business every 2 seconds, I could then relax a little bit. And by relax, I'm talking about maybe spending an hour on the beach before my mind starts kicking in and thinking about other things. But I needed that time just to unwind and do nothing. And funnily enough, if it wasn't for that time, I wouldn't have come up with lots of different ideas for the investment group that I run. And also, you messaged me at the time I was on the beach talking about a potential podcast that I was thinking about doing, and it was just great timing. And I don't think I would have been in that position had it not been for that downtime. So, although I didn't want to, I think it's absolutely necessary. You force yourself to go on these extended downtimes. It's very, very important for not only for your health and your sanity, but also for your creative juices to work well.
Yeah, definitely. And sometime, and like you said, it was great because that was really the inception of the podcast as well. That was started off as Pig Pods and is now Your Success Podcast. So really, really good timing. And I think sometimes you have to take a holiday, even if not for yourself, but for your partner or for your friends or for your family, because it's more important for them, and especially if they're either stressed at work or if they're in a role where then you get a limited amount of holiday and things like that. That even if you don't feel like you need to take it, you probably actually do need to take it anyway, but even if you don't feel like that, just do it for them. I think that's really one of the key things as well.
And one thing you need to be aware of, when I say you, I'm talking about a business person, what we need to be aware of is the fact that we don't have to work until midnight, 1, 2 in the morning. Perhaps something's not going right in our business if we're working that long. John Lamberton, very cool guy. He's the author of the book Lifestyle Businesses, where he creates businesses around his lifestyle, and it works very, very well. So he spends one day doing all the work, and the rest of the week he just chills out and spends it with his family and does that. So perhaps that should be our ultimate goal, so that we don't need big holidays, because nearly every day is a mini holiday, and you have a much greater quality of life.
And isn't it ironic that me and you potentially an unlimited amount of holiday, and you don't want to take it? You when you're in work, you might be limited to 20 days plus bank holidays, or maybe a little bit more than that if you're lucky. And you use up every single day, and you might even be in a role where you're allowed to buy more holiday, and you can pay the company to buy some holiday back. And you're tactical.
Wow, we've got Easter coming up. So if I plan it along the bank holidays, I can roll it into almost a week. And every second is sacred on your holiday. And I've got a theory, Mo. I'd like to share this with you. So my theory is this. I think that employers, they don't necessarily allow you to have more than, let's say, 2, maybe 3 weeks at a push in one consecutive holiday. And my thinking behind that is simply because once you start, first of all, there's business considerations. Let's not ignore it.
Business continuity.
Exactly. It's not always easy for a business to continue, especially a small business. But let's say it's a larger business or whatever else. Because I tend to find that when you start hitting the day 10, and then you've got the last 4 days or the last, let's say, 7 days of your holiday, your mind starts playing tricks. And the tricks are, what happens if I think of maybe doing this? Because no one wants to return back to work. That's why it's called work, right? And then you start thinking, well, perhaps there's another way of me making an income. Maybe I can start doing this. But before you know it, snap back, you're back into the routine, know your place, know your station, and those creative thoughts of maybe starting another business or whatever it may be have to evaporate because you're back in the daily grind. And that's a theory I have. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's a good theory, and I think there's real life examples of people taking sabbaticals from work, and whether they take a few months or whatever from pretty good jobs, high paid jobs, and then come back and actually just decide that's not what they want to do. I think probably maternity leave is another one. I know it's slightly different once you've had a child, and maybe that's the reason that you don't want to return to work, but you have a period off, and it does make you reevaluate. And I think there might be as well as the business continuity reasons, there might be something in that if you have too much time off, you start to think about other things you might want to do. I think the other thing is not realising you need a holiday until you go. And I've definitely found this before, that kind of reluctant to go on holiday, don't really think about it, don't really put any effort into the planning. Lucy does all the planning, she loves that kind of stuff and is really good at it, so she just schedules out the itinerary amazingly, and then I just turn up at the airport, which is fantastic. Where are we going? But then actually when you get there, just sleeping, that's one of the things that I've done before, is just sleeping for a couple of days, not solidly, but just really sleeping really, really long and having lie-ins, and that's when you realise wow, I really needed that holiday and I didn't even know I did.
Yeah, sometimes you don't realise you're exhausted. There are tales of soldiers who just battle for 18, 24 hours continuously, day in, day out. They get very little rest, and then after, say, 3, 4, 6 months, whatever, they just drop through exhaustion, and they need to have a good week off, and they don't realise it. And it's amazing that the human body's capacity for stress, and it's a very different stress from physical stress for, let's say, a soldier versus what we do as a business. We're always thinking within our minds as opposed to thinking elsewhere. But it's a very different tiredness. It's a mental tiredness. With physical, you sleep for a couple of hours and you recharge. With your brain, it's very different. So it is important to go on holiday and reward yourself, because what's the freaking point in working so hard if you don't?
Do you think sometimes a reluctancy, is that a word? Reluctancy? Yeah, we'll go with that one.
The
reluctancy, that doesn't sound right. Do you think sometimes one is reluctant to go on holiday because maybe the business isn't systemised enough as well? So you almost like, I don't want to go away because, a bit like the podcast we did on sort of fear of letting go.
Yeah.
You're worried that things aren't going to go to plan if you go on holiday.
Yeah,
so that's part of it.
I think one could be reluctantivity because perhaps their business isn't ready for them to leave.
Yeah.
And perhaps they don't have systems and processes in place, or the staff aren't trained properly, or he thinks or she may be thinking that they're going to rob me blind, or the business reputation is going to be destroyed. But if you have decent systems and controls and metrics and measures in place, you will be, and KPI is very important, and people that you can work with and trust who are aligned to your business, then your business should succeed. But
and sometimes running better when you get back because you've not been interfering, and then you're like, and that certainly happened to us before.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a micromanager, it will be extremely difficult to let go. If you're a controlling person, it will be very difficult. But perhaps you need to get out of your own way and let your business grow.
Yeah.
I think Tim Ferriss. I know
your favourite.
I know you're a big fan of him. He's
massive fan.
Awesome guy. He actually recommends scheduling. I think it was a 3-month holiday, as it forces you to get your systems and processes in place. What do you think about that, Mo?
I think I heard that as well, and I think it's absolutely key. James, my business partner, and I went away for a wedding in May last year, and it was sort of a little operation that we had up at the leading up to that date. Like, our business is fairly systemised anyway, and we've got a great team that runs it, but it was like we had a definitive kind of couple of week period that we knew we weren't going to be around. We're going to be in Greece, we're going to be busy, really busy, just sort of. So we knew that
that was bottle of drink, right?
That was bottle of drink.
Yeah, wasn't anything else.
Absolutely. Just very busy at the wedding and seeing friends and things like that. So it gave us a definitive date that we had to work up to, make sure things were systemised, make sure people had the right levels of access they needed to, etc., etc. And we were still on hand. We had our phones. I think they just about have phone signal in Greece. So
if the Germans keep bailing us out, we will. Yeah.
So no, it was actually a lot faster than it is here, which is the funny thing. You're in an island in the middle of the
Ionian Sea.
No, it was
a Greek sea.
A Greek sea.
Yeah,
one of the seas, and and you've got 4G, or like on a high-speed ferry, and you've got like 4G that's faster than in.
Can I explain why?
Go on.
It's because Greece is very mountainous. And they can put their antennas and point them down, so you will get reception, 4G in the sea.
Wow.
Compared to, let's say, England, where we have lots of flat farmland, where we struggle to get reception along the motorway, which is
that makes sense.
Quite disappointing. Actually.
Fantastic.
So there you go.
Good.
That's a bonus section.
Yeah, have that one for free, guys. I totally forgot where I was. Oh yeah. So we had an operation to say, we've got this date, we're going away. We're not going to be available for most things, and actually everything went really, really well. There were a couple of little things that came up while we were away, which is to be expected, but actually it went really well. The team did fantastically. So, and you've got that fear before you go away that not everything's not going to be all right, but then you do it, and actually it's fine, and everything works really well. So.
Sometimes just get out of your own way, really.
Yeah, you just need to, and I think that's what Tim Ferriss is getting at.
How fearful would it be if, let's say, your business does well and you've gone away for 3 months? That means you could go away for another 3 months, and then what would you do? Maybe create another business.
You could do,
or just enjoy life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's our thoughts
Yep.
on whether you need a holiday or not. We'd love to hear your thoughts because everyone does need a holiday, so everyone will have their thoughts on this and experiences versus not taking a holiday. So drop us an email on hello@yoursuccesspodcast.com or get in touch on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram.
So it's getting late.
Someone needs a holiday.
Someone needs a cheeky Nando's. God. Thanks for listening to Your Success Podcast. Please click subscribe, leave us a review, and we look forward to your comments on this Your Success Podcast Facebook page or YouTube channel.
So I've been Angelos, and you'll find me in Nando's.
Yeah, and I've been Mo, and you'll also find me in Nando's.
And we aren't actually sponsored by Nando's.
We aren't.
But if they want to get in touch, you're more than welcome. So see you again on the next exciting episode of Your Success Podcast.
You have been listening to Your Success Podcast. Click subscribe for more incredible content. More details can be found at www.yoursuccesspodcast.com.